Welcome to the Your Entrepreneurship School podcast, or as I like to call it, the Yes Podcast. My name is Britta Moreta. I'm an executive business consultant for women who dream of living wildly and wealthy abroad. The Yes Podcast is for women who are ready to build a business that funds her dream life abroad so she can expand her business, bank account, and brilliance without settling for a life that tames her wildness. The Yes Podcast is sponsored by Bridal Babes Yoga, a Luxe start to your celebration. Ready to elevate your bachelorette or hen-do weekend with something truly unforgettable? My Bridal Babes Yoga experiences are crafted with intention, movement, and connection because you deserve more than just the usual. Immerse yourself in a soulful, joy-filled session designed exclusively for you and your crew. Whether you crave a restorative morning flow, a themed class with playful energy, or a heart-centered practice to set powerful intentions for this next chapter, we'll curate a dreamy experience that feels as radiant and one-of-a-kind as your love story. What to expect? Thoughtfully curated playlist, essential oil-infused head massage, a pause to breathe, move, laugh, and connect with the optional add-ons of tarot card reading, astrology chart reading, and friendship bracelet making. This isn't just a yoga class. It's a radiant start to your weekend, an unforgettable moment of luxurious relaxation and joy before the confetti. Let's make magic for your bridal crew. To book a Bridal Babes yoga class, you can go to brittamoreta.com/bridal-babes-yoga or find our link in the show notes. Hello, beautiful Roxy. I'm so excited that you're here today. We had a really fun week last week. Please introduce yourself to those of us who don't know you. And tell us who you are and how you serve people in the wellness industry and what your company is.
Hi, Bridget. Well, first of all, I'm super excited to do this. So thank you for having me. My name is Roxy. I am a yoga teacher and I'm a founder of Wellsphere. Wellsphere is a wellness talent platform connecting wellness professionals of all sorts with opportunities around the world.
I love this. We got on a call a couple months ago and I just really love what you're doing because I am a traveling yoga teacher. I've worked and lived in 19 countries as a yoga teacher. And sometimes it's really hard to find opportunities abroad. And I'm someone who always tries to find an opportunity first before going to the next country. And I love how your platform just provides opportunities for wellness pros. Can you talk to us a little bit about how Wellsphere works and how I'm a yoga teacher or a Pilates instructor or even a dance teacher? How can your platform help me get jobs abroad or jobs in general?
Our Wellsphere is kind of built, out of my own needs when I finished my yoga teacher training. But how the platform works, it's pretty much, I always say to people, think of it like a LinkedIn for wellness. So the way it's set up is you create your profile on Wellsphere and you can, add your photos. You can tell a little bit more people about yourself. You can add any relevant links for the socials. And it's designed kind of a site for the businesses. So the businesses also create their own profiles, either if you are a studio, a retreat, a hotel, and the businesses start posting the jobs. And so you get to see as a wellness talent the jobs and you get to apply for them directly. So it is pretty much like a marketplace for wellness professionals.
This is great. And how does it work? So people, they go on your website, they create an account and they apply. And how long does it take them to know if they have an interview or an audition? And what do you require for the people who are supplying the jobs? Do they need to get on a call like this, like a video call? Do they need to accept an audition? What is the process?
So we are not really hiring directly, right? So we don't really get involved in the hiring processes between the company, I guess, and the talent. So it's all between the two of them. So we pretty much have new jobs landing on Wellsphere every single day, apart from Saturdays. So there's a plenty of opportunities. And, the platform's been built the way that wellness professionals can browse. We have different subscriptions model. You can come, for 3 months. You can come for half a year. You can be there for a year, which works out the best from a financial point of view. And you get to search jobs and keeping an eye, whatever, spikes your interest. We have jobs which are, based in the studios. Let's say I'm based in the UK in London. So a lot of opportunities kind of naturally are here for the studios, but we have a lot of also those travel opportunities. The moment you see something that sparks your interest, I guess, You get either like a email address, or you get a WhatsApp number, or whichever way the person who's hiring prefers to be contacted, and you reach out directly to them, and then you guys take it between the two of you. The interviewing process. We have some of the success stories. Some people landing the job opportunities abroad within 7 days from reaching out to the employer, but it will really depend kind of, of I guess of each case by case. But what I'm big advocate in terms of those opportunities is, I am myself a yoga teacher, as I mentioned earlier. I want those opportunities, to be fairly paid or be fair work trades, right? So it's really important for me. I do not really approve the jobs, which are 40 hours of work for perhaps, a bed and just a meal or maybe a shared accommodation. So that's something that's really important for me.
I love that you shared this because this used to be me. Like, I started traveling the world and teaching yoga when I was 20 years old, and now I'm 31. And a lot of times there were like, quote unquote, opportunities where they would have you work like 8-hour days just for a bed. And like, to me, that's not enough. And now it's changed a little bit where it's like they give you accommodation and they pay you, which I think is excellent. Can you give us an example of an opportunity that your platform provides, whether it's for a yoga teacher, a Pilates teacher, someone just in the wellness industry? What if I go on your platform for the first time, what kind of jobs can I expect?
Yeah, 100%. So, I think maybe I'll just talk about some success stories of some
Yeah.
of our community members, because I think that's really important. Wellsphere is not just a platform, we're a community. We have a WhatsApp group, we have our Wellsphere ambassadors. And, I think I built Wellsphere because I feel like this industry can be quite lonely and perhaps, even maybe sometimes competitive. It feels like, maybe perhaps sometimes wellness professionals feel like they're fighting for that one spot, but I think it's all about creating those opportunities among each other. And Wellsphere, I built Wellsphere with having a very much in mind, community. I don't want it just to be a platform, when people go and find the jobs. What we need in wellness community among wellness professionals is, share the ideas, and perhaps this industry can be a little bit competitive. So it's all about that connecting people. We have a WhatsApp group when our ambassadors can connect. We have a general WhatsApp group. We have Facebook groups, etc. So some of our success stories so far is one of our ambassadors, Julia. She landed a beautiful opportunity teaching in Cyprus for 3 months at a hotel, a beautiful resort, where she's teaching a yoga daily. Some of the other success stories is another member, quit their corporate job and moved to Sri Lanka. We have a few members as well traveling to Namibia for like a short opportunity for 2 weeks, when they actually got a chance to participate as well and do a safari in Africa. So there's a lot of beautiful opportunities. What Wellsphere is quite well known. We have a lot of studio opportunities, but also a lot of opportunities that cater to digital nomads or remote workers. So a lot of opportunities we have on the platform do offer perhaps, teaching just once a day or 2 times a day, which you can actually make work with an office type of job or, type of job. So those opportunities tend to be really popular.
I love this. And I love how you shared like the different types of people and opportunities. Like, someone can get a 3-month position, someone can quit their corporate job and move across the world to Sri Lanka, which is such a magical place, even like from like a yoga a history perspective as well. So I think that's incredible.
We have also, what's been quite popular is kind of more of like a front of house opportunity. I know there's been a lot of demand, especially, I guess, in where I'm based in London for those sort of opportunities. There's some opportunities which are great for freshly baked yoga instructors, perhaps, being an assistant at a retreat. I think that's a great way if someone is actually dreaming of having their own retreats in the future. Perhaps first attending it, as in someone assisting it, seeing how it's done, from that side, and then taking it to yourself. So yeah, all plenty of opportunities, even opportunities to teach actually at a yoga teacher training. So yeah, we have everything.
Oh my God, if I got a job, I mean, I have in the past, but to teach, I feel like to teach yoga is one thing, but when you get to train people to teach yoga, that is the top of the filled cup. It's just what yoga teachers are here to do, is to teach other people how to teach yoga. At least that's what I love to do. So I love that you shared that.
100%. And it's so interesting you brought it up, because I actually initially, when I did my yoga teacher training, I wasn't planning on teaching others. I just did it kind of, to deepen my own practice, learn a little bit more about the yoga, because I loved it so much. And exactly once I finished my training, I was like, I actually really want to teach. So it's interesting how this changes, I guess.
Yeah, I agree with that. When I as well. I got my yoga teacher training. I was so young. I was just like, I love yoga. Let's go.
Yes.
And then, oh my God, I want to do this for the rest of my life. There's no other thing I want to do. And I love when that happens. And I think it's so important to share that. You don't have to do a yoga teacher training to become a yoga teacher. Permission to learn about anatomy, to learn about the history of yoga, the philosophy, and more about the body and how it moves and how we breathe and how all of that connects us to a bigger piece of the world. And I feel like sometimes when we go into YTTs, there's this expectation of have to become a yoga teacher. And I feel the yoga practice itself is here to teach us like to not have expectations and to not like force an outcome, but like to just be here and be open and learn what the practice provides.
100%. And I think, these days we're so lucky. There's so many amazing resources out there. You can educate you with YouTube, with blogs, even on socials, following people you do like. And it's very interesting how I feel like this journey, exactly yoga teacher training will look different for everyone. Out of my own training, I think actually maybe 20% of people actually went to teach. So for me it was like it changed completely. I came there not thinking I'm going to teach, and I end up teaching. I'm sure some people came teaching, and then after that they were like, okay, I've done 200 hours, I actually want a bit of a break. So this journey will be for everyone different. Yeah.
I love that. I love how you're like 200 hours. I need a break.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
some people were like, okay, I had so much yoga in the last year. My training was 10 months. So some people was like, I really need a break for now. So it's very, very interesting and very personal, I guess.
Absolutely. Oh my God, that's so funny. I can understand that my arms would hurt like after 10 months of yoga. I did mine in 10 weeks. So the fact that there's like 10-month trainings, wow,
Yeah.
that those are for dedicated people. I've seen people do 30-day trainings or even 40-day, but 10 months. I guess if it's like spread out, I don't know if it's happening every day or if they're doing it every weekend, but that is a commitment. And I really applaud anyone who's doing it for 10 months. Give them a
Yeah.
500-hour
So,
certification, please.
so my really, I had an actually very different kind of an approach to my training, because I could have gone like abroad. There was a lot of beautiful trainings in Sri Lanka or Bali, but living in London, it's such a busy city. I thought that if I would ever go to Bali and I would do a month training, I would come back to London and it would be just so detached. It would feel almost like a dream, and I would be so disconnected with my life here in London. So I actually wanted to do it. It was a 10-month training and it was a one weekend every month. But I feel like that allowed me, in between to work on my personal practice and really weave that into my busy life in the city. And kind of, I feel like if you stick to something, for 10 months, you're going to stick for longer. And so that's why I actually chose a training in London, and I'm very glad I did it. But, that being said, this worked for me. I have a lot, many good friends or other teachers who did it abroad, and they had the most beautiful spiritual experience as well. So it will really depend one by one, I guess, what you choose, but that's kind of the path I chose.
I love that. And I think that's so important, the integration of practice. I did mine in New York City and it was 10 weeks consecutively. I think we had one weekend off for a holiday and it was a full time job. And I think what you said about it spread out over 10 months, I think because I just didn't even know the options of yoga teacher trainings back then. I was a fresh yogi, like brand new. I think it's so important that teachers know that like, there are options based on what you need. If you can do 10 weeks back to back, great. If you have a job and you can't do that, you can do it over 10 months. And for people who learn or need to learn at a faster rate versus those who have the time to just spread it out, I think it's so important for people to know you have options. There's so many different ways that you can get your yoga certification, and there's so many different ways that work for you. After you did your yoga certification, were there any opportunities for you right off the bat, or did you wait a bit before diving into the teaching world?
So this is actually really interesting, and that's how kind of like the idea of Wellsphere was born. So I initially, of course, I finished my yoga teacher training. Was I a great teacher? Probably not, but I was very keen, and I kind of, running yoga classes for my family members, for my sister, for my boyfriend, for my friends. And then, the next thing was like, I really want to teach. I know, how do I land those opportunities? I think a lot of us go to those yoga teacher trainings that have, studios as well. And we kind of hope that they're going to kind of, give us the teacher, hire us after it. But of course, like it's impossible for them to hire every single graduate, right? And I think that's when I realized that, where do you find yoga teaching opportunities? And my background is corporate. So I first, on LinkedIn looking for yoga jobs, but, LinkedIn be a place for that. Then I started Googling and searching for opportunities. And quickly I've learned, that this industry is very fragmented when it comes to hiring, and it relies heavily on a word of mouth, of your own relationship with, with studios, with other teachers that perhaps, being a freshly baked yoga instructor, I did not have. And that's when I started to think, why would it like, what would, if there would be a platform that would connect all the wellness professionals? And I'm not talking here only yoga, I'm talking Pilates, I'm talking also, more holistic facilitators, right? I'm talking Reiki masters, sound healers, breathwork facilitators, meditation instructors, right? That would actually connect them all and, a place where everyone could kind of, create their profile and search and browse for the opportunities that are out there. One of the things as well, so my actually first opportunity that I managed to was teaching yoga at a retreat in Maldives. So I went there for a month, and I still had my full-time job. So I was working full-time and I was teaching there. So I was kind of, juggling both. But yeah, it was a beautiful opportunity. And a lot of yoga teacher friends reached out to me and they were like, how did you land that? And to be honest, I did by just hustling. I messaged so many people on Instagram asking, if they're looking for a yoga instructor for a month, etc. And a few got back to me. So that only kind of ensured me, that the businesses do have that need and they do want to hire instructors. And then as well, us wellness professionals, we just want to apply for this, and the opportunities are so fragmented. So that's how the idea, first kind of an idea of Wellsphere was being born.
I love that you shared this because I think that we forget that the businesses, the wellness businesses, also don't know where to post jobs. I was like you, I went on Indeed.com looking for yoga jobs, which makes me laugh now. I'm like, they must be on here. This is the job listing website. Absolutely not.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think that's kind of where the opportunity is. And, wellness tourism is only growing, right? I think these days, when people go on holiday, of course they want to have cultural experiences, but we live in such a busy world, with technology all around us. People want to kind of detach from that, they want to perhaps, even have 30 minutes of meditation, to quiet their mind. Maybe they want to move their body a bit. So I think this is only going to shift in that direction. There'll be more opportunities and there will be a bigger focus, which I think is only a great thing.
I love this. And I think this is so true. Like when I lived in the United States, a lot of my teaching jobs were for like corporate places, corporate offices who'd have like lunch hour yoga or after work yoga, or like get there at 5 a.m. and teach like one on one to like the moms who worked in the corporate offices. Again, the only time I found those jobs on job sites like LinkedIn or Indeed were for corporate positions. And we forget that it's wellness tourism, that there are hotels, there are retreat centers, there are cafes, and all types of businesses, festivals, everything that actually need
Exactly.
these teachers. And I love that Wellsphere is a place where it's serving both. We have the opportunity for people who own these businesses to go and find excellent teachers from all around the world. And then there's teachers who maybe some of us are still figuring out, how does this whole job thing work in the wellness industry? And Wellsphere is this website where you can experience that. And I think especially as people who are new, maybe you just got one of your certifications in Pilates, yoga, some kind of like Ayurveda, and if you're not really sure how the business works, I highly recommend Wellsphere because how I see it, this is how I started my journey, is just traveling and teaching. I learned everything I know about the business through opportunities like this. It's literally what set me up for success. So 10 years ago, I wish something like Wellsphere existed because it is hard to like find these jobs if you don't have a community. If you decide to book a one way to a country and not have a community in that country. And it's like, that's why these positions and opportunities are available.
Exactly. And I love that, Britta, I mean, we spoke last week as well, and I know your story. And, even with the Yes podcast, exactly. A lot of you are where you are because you said yes to a lot of those things. And I think, exactly, I think Wellsphere is a great way, either if you are freshly baked or, maybe more advanced or, you want to move abroad, it's really up to you, right? Or maybe you want to find a job in a studio. So we try to, kind of have opportunities for all sorts of, wellness professionals. Maybe you want to actually front of house, you want to be close to, but maybe you don't want to actually teach full time. Maybe you want to teach part time, right? We are trying to kind of create opportunities for all those different. Yeah.
I love that. I have a whole list of questions, some that we haven't asked yet. My question for you, and this is because I define this on the Yes podcast as well. What is your definition of wellness?
So wellness, I think, for me, wellness is, a balance between the physical health and your emotional state, your sense of purpose and ability, to feel present in your own life. I think it's not about perfection. I don't think it's about waking up at 5 a.m., drinking green juices, strict routine, unless that works for you.
Yeah. I mean, I love green juice, just not at 5 a.m. But yeah, I love that. I think it's just so important to ask that because we all have different wellness routines. And I feel like sometimes what we see in like, commercials or for those big wellness stores, Wellness looks and feels different for all of us and honor that for who you are. For example, some people really love running, and I would die if I had to go running every day. That's not my type of wellness. My wellness is going on a walk by the beach or in a city and then practicing yoga for 90 minutes and then getting into my business and working. That is my wellness. But for some people, they love surfing, they love Pilates, they love dance, and it looks different on all of us. So thank you for sharing what your definition of wellness is.
100%.
And my next question is, how can wellness pros from a job perspective, if I'm a yoga teacher, a Pilates teacher, just someone who has like been in this industry for quite some time, but they don't really know the business side of it, what can they do to better prepare themselves for the wellness tourism job market? Do I need a website? Do I need a CV? Do you think are the basic requirements as the practitioner side who's applying for these jobs?
Yeah. Well, it will definitely depend, right, in which kind of field you are and what I guess what kind of opportunity you're going for. But just in very general, I would say, a lot of the opportunities we do see on Wellsphere, they do require usually some sort of a certification if you're a Pilates instructor, or a yoga teacher. So I would say definitely that. I would say as well, usually, it is some sort of a strong social media presence or a website. You don't have to be on Instagram, you don't have to be on TikTok, right? But having something, maybe it's YouTube, maybe if you opted out of those, or maybe it is a website. So I would definitely say that's something really important. Have perhaps any references, of the clients you've had in the past. Have some sort of, usually there is a request for like a demo teaching. So
Mhm.
again, that would be more probably, if you are a Pilates instructor, right? Or maybe you're a sound healer, to have some sort of a video. Again, doesn't have to be on YouTube, can be a small, few minutes that you have recorded on your iPhone that you can share with someone. And I would say, a lot of us struggle kind of with imposter syndrome. And just like, I guess my advice would be here, like knowing that, nobody's perfect, right? And, as well, you are a teacher and, people are not going to come for your sequencing, for your flows, but they're going to come for you. I feel the more you are yourself, the more you allow your personality to shine through your teachings, the more authentic you present yourself. But, just kind of remembering it, we all kind of struggle with imposter syndrome. Like I've been there, but I'm sure you've been, so just knowing that that's something, it's a part of having a human experience.
I love that you shared about imposter syndrome. And I feel some of us feel imposter syndrome and we don't even have the word imposter syndrome for it. So just thank you for bringing this up. If you don't know what imposter syndrome is, it's when you are excellent in your field. You are a pro with whatever it is that you do, whether it's yoga, Pilates, you're a retreat host, even a teacher trainer, and you suddenly like think that you don't know what you're doing or that you're not excellent at what you do. And it's kind of like you got body snatched and like this like fake not believing in yourself version of you shows up inside of you and all this anxiety can happen. And I think I know that this is why we have these practices. This is why we do breath work. This is why we get in our bodies and physically practice yoga. This is why we have Ayurveda. This is why I go dancing all the time is to get back in my body. So if you're someone who suddenly feel like you're not good enough or you don't believe in yourself and you might have years, decades of experience, just get back in your body and then know when you're in your body, that's when you can make the best choices for yourself. And it doesn't mean you don't know what you're doing. Maybe one, you have anxiety, or two, like you're ready to expand into something else or do something else, but know that like you do know what you're doing. Like you are excellent at this. And it just comes back to being in your body and breathing and reconnecting to yourself.
Yeah, I think that's really nice way of putting it. I think to me, imposter syndrome, in my own, like I know at the beginning of teaching, you always felt like you've landed this opportunity, I'm going there and I just start like doubting myself, like, oh my gosh, what if I arrive there and people, think like I'm not as good I'm going to be. And exactly, you start doubting it. But I think it's very normal, because we've been unfortunately like conditioned for that fight or flight, and we always like assume the worst because we want to keep ourselves safe. So anything when we try to go outside of our comfort zone, we get sometimes those negative thoughts. But exactly, Britta said, I think, confidence is like the most important thing, like the only thing I think actually in life is, you need to believe in yourself because if you believe in yourself, the world will believe in you. And, kind of perception is reality.
I love this. Yes. When you believe in yourself, the world is going to believe in you. And I agree with that. Like when it comes to anything, like I'm someone who's so prone to worrying and I come up with like 10 bad options that could happen. And then I'm like, no, 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 we're going to shut that off. when we reconnect to ourselves, the universe responds to that. Like the universe responds to flow. It responds to being in that trust like situation with yourself. And I notice that too, like always get clients when I surrender. Like when I'm not thinking about my business, when I'm not thinking about getting more students or more people coming to my master classes. It's the moments where I'm just like, no, like I know what I'm doing. I put out this excellent offer and like if it's meant to be, it will. And then people just show up. And I think it's getting in that flow of trust and knowing that like the universe responds to that.
100%, yes.
What do you think are we talked a little bit about like what wellness pros need to get the job, but what do you think are like the top 3 to 5 tasks that they need to complete in order to get a job in wellness? So for me, you definitely need a CV. Like you need to show your experience. Like is there anything else? You mentioned like a demo video, but like if you had like a 3 to 5 checklist, like what's on that list?
Yeah, I would say, well, number one, the resume. And here, I think sometimes that's something that's overseen. I think, answer not just, yeah, I feel like sometimes people, shoot out their resumes for a bunch of opportunities. But I think, you actually takes 2 steps back, create kind of craft, and do bespoke resume for each opportunity you're applying. The resume is going to look very different if you're applying for, a studio role somewhere here in London than, if you're applying, say, in Portugal. I think really important you start, to cater your kind of, your experience and talk a little bit more about your experience in detail on that resume or depending on what that opportunity is. Then I would say a demo, and I would say exactly the same, have different types of demos. If you, when I went to teach actually, in Morocco for like a surf and yoga retreat, I did, I did kind of a little demo when I actually focused on, like yoga for surfers, working on perhaps like shoulders and kind of focusing on the areas that the surfers might benefit, right? Or, be prepared as well that you perhaps in some of those perhaps traveling opportunities, maybe you're going to work with also children, right? Like how we approach that. So kind of make sure that, that demo and that resume is catered to that. And I'll say as well, probably some sort of a social media presence, like a lot of opportunities that we have on Wellsphere, usually they just want to kind of, get a feel for that or that website. So I would say those would be probably the three, having, your resume, your demo, and then having either a website or a social media presence.
And what would you say for the person who or the company who's providing the job? I'm someone I really want to research before I go abroad or just go to any job. I want to make sure that they have a website. I want to see if they have a YouTube channel to show their property. What would you suggest for people who are looking for people to come work for them to show that they're legitimate?
Exactly. So, of course, you're going to have your interview with them. So, make sure like, they communicate well with you, right? They're in touch, like everything looks professional. Some of the opportunities will require a contract. It really depends, right? So it's too generic kind of to say, but exactly do all your background checks and exactly check, if they are, we do some sort of a verification from our side, on if the businesses are legitimate. But at the end of the day, when you are interviewing with them, it's kind of between you and them, if you guys make it work. But I would say exactly make sure you look at the presence, where the property is, and as well, negotiate with them. Perhaps, they can, are they going to pick you up from the airport when you arrive if it's a travel opportunity, right? If it's not a place you can go, in advance. And exactly make sure, you do all those safety checks in advance.
I love that. Yeah, safety checks is key. Honestly, I've never had anything strange or weird happen with me, but I think it's because I'm from New York and I triple check everything's legitimate. But I love what you shared. Make sure that they have a website. I love that you guys provide safety checks for the people who are listing on your website. That's so important. For me, I always get on a video call. Whether it's on Zoom, back in the day it was Skype. We don't have that anymore, but always get on a call with them. And yeah, anytime you're looking for a wellness job, even though like you were interviewing for the position, I see it as a co-interview, kind of like when you're teaching yoga, it's a dialogue. Yes, they're interviewing you, but you're also interviewing them to see if this position is for you. So I would say put yourself as the interviewer too and have 3 to 5 questions ready in that interview for the person who's interviewing you to make sure that you want this too. And that's fair to do because if it's not a good fit, it's not a good fit. But if it's an excellent fit, you're only going to know if you ask questions.
I love that. And 100% I agree with this. I wouldn't say, anything. I wouldn't add anything more than that. Exactly. The interview is not just for them to find out if they want to hire you. It's also for you to find out if this opportunity is right for you. And I would say as well, some of the advice, make sure everything is crystal clear and perhaps you get it in writing as well, right? So if it is perhaps a work trade opportunity, that you want to make sure that, you have your own accommodation, maybe with your own bathroom, you have 3 meals a day, you're teaching a 1 class a week, a day, or 2 classes a day, depending whatever that is. I would make sure I have it all in writing. And as well, with a lot of those work trade opportunities as well, pitch yourself, perhaps say that, I would be very happy to perhaps, offer one-to-one classes, and then that could be a way potentially to make some extra cash as well, right? In that. Or, perhaps as well, picture that, you actually are not after a work trade opportunity, would they consider doing a paid opportunity? So it's all kind of, will depend on your relationship, I guess, with them directly. And yes, Britta, as you said, I would definitely jump on a call. It doesn't have to be a video call. I mean, preferred video call, but I would definitely, either a WhatsApp call, just to making sure, there is someone who you're speaking with, and exactly just to check if it's all legit.
I love what you shared about like making extra money in these jobs. Like, this is exactly what I would do. Like, I would teach like the group classes and I would teach private classes. But also, if you have other skills, like I helped build the website for a hotel that I worked at. I've also done like a lot of social media, website, meta ads, like anything that like you have other skills in. Like, and it doesn't have to be something online. Like, maybe you're really good at like making art and you can like paint some murals for some places in town. Like, there's just so many opportunities for yoga teachers. And sometimes I feel like we get stuck in this, I'm a wellness pro box. I can only teach wellness. And no, who were you before that? We were
Yes,
also that. And who do you want to be? And what skills can you teach yourself? And what skills can you learn when you're there?
exactly. And you can create those opportunities for yourself. Exactly.
Yes, I love that. How can people find you if they want to connect with Wellsphere, whether they're a wellness pro or someone looking to list their wellness jobs? Like, how can they find Wellsphere? Where are you at?
Yeah. So our website is joinwellsphere.com. We're on social at wellsphere.co. And you can connect with me directly. Miss Roxy on Instagram. Any jobs that you want to post, you can just email them directly to us at hello@joinwellsphere.com. And we're very open to fair opportunities. So we actually do a selection of opportunities, and we would like to probably get in touch and just understand a little bit more about your business before we post anything.
I would love to know, because I forgot to ask at the beginning, what are you saying yes to today or in your business or in your practice?
Yeah, well, I think today, exactly in particular, I think like we're at this period of our seasons shifting, right? So I'm actually saying a little bit more. We're entering that kind of a yin season. I'm saying yes to more, rest, slowing down a little bit. I went through a bit of a burnout recently, so trying to, kind of find a little bit of a healthier balance. So that's what I'm saying yes to.
I love that. Well, Roxy, thank you so much for being on the Yes podcast today. I have loved having you. I've loved this conversation and I love the work that you're doing in the world. I think it's needed and it's literally serving the entire world. So just thank you for building it and believing in yourself in this business. And I'm so excited for so many wellness pros, both on the job hunting side and the ones who are looking for practitioners to get the most out of this. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Britta. I love doing this. Thank you.
If you are a women-run business and want to be featured as a commercial on the Yes podcast, then send an email to britta@brittamareda.com or check the show notes to get the details. Thank you for listening to the Your Entrepreneurship School podcast. If funding your life abroad sounds like something you want to do, then check out the show notes to find out ways we can work together. If you feel called to leave a review, then you can find me on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. I'll see you on our next episode where we will expand our business bank accounts in brilliance without settling for a life that tames us, all while saying yes to our wildest dreams.